Okay, welcome back to another video, and today I'm gonna go for a book haul. So, see you at the store.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Welcome back to my living room, where I'm going to show you all the books that I just recently bought there. I went a little bit crazy, but honestly I am in my thriller era, so I've been obsessed with reading thrillers, been reading them so quickly that I have to replenish, obviously. And a lot of people have been talking about thriller books, so I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos that have inspired me onto what to add to my TBR. So basically I had to pick them up, and I think I did really well because currently I am reading the first one that I got, which is The House Across the Lake, and this one is so far so good. Basically this book is about this lady who lives in a lake house, and across from her is someone who owns a very modern lake house that, you know, has like windows that you can see inside the entire thing. So she basically, binoculars, is looking across the lake and is noticing some suspicious activity between this supermodel and her husband, and you know, things get juicy from there. I so far enjoy, because I am a little bit through this after one night of reading it. So far I enjoy the pace. I enjoy that, you know, we're in this beach, well not beach, but like lake house scenery at the same time as having, you know, this sneaky, luring kind of feeling. So far I love the scene, love the scenario. I just really hope that this doesn't take a turn where the main character is just drunk, thus what is happening is more a play on her mind than an actual reality. I hate books like that. Let's get over the drunk woman trope, please. Please. Am I right or am I right? It Girl by Ruth Ware. I've been seeing this all over Instagram, so I was like, all right, what is the hype here? Why is this so popular? And I went into Goodreads and it had such a good review, so had to grab it. Had to. Basically what happens, or what I've heard happens in here, is that the main character ends up being friends with a bunch of kind of popular group of people at Oxford University, and one of the girls that she's friends with ends up dying, and she and her husband that she marries within the friend group, later on, like years later, I guess the murderer situation like comes back up, or some sort of scenario, it like comes back up, and she thought this was like brushed under the rug at this point, but for some reason people think that they can find the killer now, and it just brings everything that happened at that time back into light. And I just really hope this has such a fun twist to it, you know? I'm really hoping that it becomes someone she's like close with, or I don't know, maybe she's the girl because the it girl, you know? I don't know, but with such good rating on Goodread and the general topic of this book just sounding so intriguing, I am extremely excited to read this one and pick it up. Next, I got The Last Housewife. Can you tell? I really was not lying when I said I'm excited for all these thrillers. This one is another really popular one, and I honestly really love this cover too. It's kind of basic, but a little bit fun, edgy, nice colors, sunset kind of colors. I don't know, but I love this cover. This one sounds so fun. This one reminds me a little bit of Criminal Minds. There's this one episode of Criminal Minds that will forever be my favorite. It is where this like group of girls get captured by this one guy, and the two escape after like seeing the excruciating things that this guy does. Anyways, apparently the two, or the main character and her friend, are in college, and they get entrapped by this guy who seems really intriguing and has a lot of insight and things that are really fascinating about him, I guess, that they gravitate to, and realize that he's basically a psycho. And they escape, I guess, based on what I'm seeing here, or they manage to escape. And again, it's one of those things that's like pushed under the rug, so we're getting a POV of when they're in this situation and then a POV of her now. I guess the situation comes back up to light when a podcast is talking about how one of the girls, I guess in the situation, Laurel, or is it Lauren? Where did I see that name? Laurel's death comes back up to light in this podcast, and now she's reintroduced to the scenario and reflecting on exactly what happens. So sounds so good. I love when it's like a friendship trope, and when they're like escaping a situation, like the drama and just the intrigue of being like, how are they gonna get out of this, is really fun to read. So I'm excited for this. All right, moving a little bit away from the thriller books that I'm talking about. The next one I got is Breast and Eggs by Miko Kawakami. Oh shoot, I don't know how to say her name, but she's a really famous Japanese author, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I believe she's Japanese. And if you really are into more like translated books, or books that are like reflective on the way that our mundane life basically is, she's a really good author for that. Basically, from what I can tell, this book follows a group of women, each kind of going through their own troubles, and we're kind of catapulted into their life and going through what they're going through with them. And from what I've heard from people who've read this, it's pretty relatable. You can relate to at least one character in here, and it's just like an all-around character development type of style book. Like if you really love reading about characters and how they get through things, essentially this is for you. I'm excited because books that I've read in the past by this author, she digs really deep into like emotion and why we feel these specific, relatable, mundane items in our life. And I'm just excited to dive into it in a book that talks about a lot of different female characters, because I feel like they're gonna go into deeper topics that you can just understand as a female reader, and I'm just excited. So this should be good. The next one I got is An Honest Lie, another quick thriller book. I haven't heard amazing reviews on this one, and to be honest, the other books that this author wrote, which is The Wrong Family and The Wives, I actually despised. I really hated it, but this one's shorter, and I thought it would be just like a quick, easy read. This one follows, again, another situation where you know, there's a bad past, she's trying to escape it, but then a situation in the present happens that makes her have to reevaluate it. and her and her friends go to Vegas, have a fun Vegas trip, and I guess one of her Vegas buddies gets missing, and she understands where she is, but she has to bring up the past to be able to solve it and help her friend and also help herself. So an honest lie, I guess, eh? Like, she knows the honest truth, but it's also lying to herself, is what I'm assuming will happen here. So hopefully it's a good quick read, but I'm really hoping that, you know, I didn't dig myself in the hole by going into an author that I typically don't gravitate to, but we'll see. Last one that I grabbed was Stay Awake, and I have finished this book, and I will talk about it when I go over my August reading wrap up, but it was really good. It was really, really good. And essentially this follows a girl that every time she falls asleep, she forgets everything that happened to her over the last like 2 years. Like, she only remembers her life 2 years ago and everything that happened before that time. But everything that's happened since then, she like completely forgets every time she falls asleep. So she's like written on her hand, like, stay awake, like takes a bunch of caffeine, is trying to stay awake so that she can remember what's going on, especially because she has a hunch that someone's after her. So imagine being at such a disadvantage that every time you fall asleep, you lose track of who's trying to capture you. Like, you make so much progress being like, okay, I know who it is, I know who to avoid, I know who to go to, and then you fall asleep and you're back at the beginning. So yeah, it's a bit of a cat chase, and you're trying to figure out who the guy is the entire time because you're going through her lens where you're only getting snippets every time she's awake. So it's really intriguing. I thought it would be kind of annoying that you're like always starting afresh with her every time she wakes up, but the author does a really good job where she doesn't go into the details every single time of her being in confusion state. It kind of, as it goes on, gets a little bit more clear and clearer. So that part wasn't annoying. So anyways, I rated this really well, and you won't find out till my August reading wrap up, but I do recommend this one. It does live up to the hype that it does have right now. That is a quick wrap up of all of the books that I got when I went shopping, and I'm so excited to read them. I'm already through, like I said, 1.5 of them, so hopefully you will see a lot of them in my August wrap up if the rest of this month goes by well with my thriller era. But I'm having a really good time with these thriller books right now and getting out of the romance genre. So I do recommend switch up your genres if you get bored. There's so many books out there. Sometimes it's so overwhelming how many books I want to read and so little time. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!